Imagine a young carpenter walking through the dusty streets of Nazareth, blending in seamlessly with the crowd. He laughed, worked, and ate like everyone else. To those around him, he was just another man. Yet deep within his soul lay a profound mystery, one that even today sparks endless debate. Did he know who he truly was? If Jesus was God, why did he pray? Why did he seek solitude to communicate with the Father? These questions lead us to a paradox almost impossible to fathom. Could God, in human form, experience humanity so fully that even his divine identity was, for a time, veiled? Take a moment to consider this. If Jesus knew from the beginning that he was God, why didn't he openly proclaim it? Why did he speak in parables and riddles instead of making straightforward declarations? And perhaps the most perplexing detail of all, why do the Gospels remain almost silent about his childhood and early life? The answers to these questions may hold the key to understanding the greatest mystery of all time. Was Jesus a man discovering his divine purpose, or did he always carry the full knowledge of his divine nature? What if his human experiences were more than just symbolic? What if they were essential for us to comprehend the depth of who he truly was? The Gospels offer very little insight into the early life of Jesus, leaving his childhood and young adulthood shrouded in mystery. This silence has led many to wonder, was he aware of his divine nature during those years, or was this knowledge gradually revealed to him? One of the few glimpses into Jesus' early life comes in the account of his visit to the temple at age 12, Luke 2:41-50. In this story, Jesus astonishes the religious scholars with his wisdom, posing questions and offering answers that leave even the most learned in awe. When his parents find him, he responds with a cryptic statement, "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" This moment suggests a self-awareness of his unique relationship with God. But does it confirm that he fully understood his divine identity, or was he beginning to piece together the truth? There's also the question of how Jesus' family viewed him during this time. The Gospels tell us that Mary treasured certain events in her heart, such as the angelic announcement of his birth and the visit of the Magi. Yet it's unclear whether she fully grasped the magnitude of who her son would become. Did Jesus himself understand why he was different from other children? Or were these years a period of preparation and discovery, where he grew in both wisdom and stature, as Luke 2:52 describes? Some theologians propose that Jesus, while fully divine, chose to live within the limitations of human experience during his early years. This perspective aligns with Philippians 2:7, which states that he emptied himself by taking on human form. Could this self-emptying include setting aside the full awareness of his divinity? If so, then the silence about his childhood might reflect the ordinary nature of these years, an intentional choice by God to fully experience life as one of us. Others suggest that the silence itself is part of the mystery. By leaving these details untold, the Gospels compel us to wrestle with the complexity of Jesus' dual nature, fully God and fully man. The gaps in his story invite us to reflect on what it means for the divine to enter the human condition. What's certain is that these hidden years hold a significance we can only begin to comprehend. Were they a time for Jesus to learn what it meant to be human, or a period where he quietly prepared for his mission, fully aware of his purpose? The answers remain elusive, but one thing is clear. The mystery of Jesus' early life continues to captivate and challenge us, inviting us to ponder the profound depths of his identity. As Jesus stepped into his public ministry, his actions and words began to spark questions that reverberate even today. Was he fully aware of his divinity, or were these moments of revelation also a journey of self-discovery? The first recorded miracle of Jesus, turning water into wine at the wedding in Cana, provides a fascinating glimpse into this question. When his mother Mary informs him that the wine has run out, his initial response seems almost dismissive. "My time has not yet come," John 2:4. Yet moments later, he performs a miraculous act that not only saves the celebration, but leaves everyone in awe. Was this a calculated decision, knowing the significance of his actions, or was it an intuitive response driven by his divine nature revealing itself? The miracles that followed seemed to progressively unveil his authority. Healing the sick, restoring sight to the blind, and calming storms were not just displays of power, they were signs that pointed to a reality beyond human understanding. However, Jesus often instructed those he healed to keep the miracles a secret, as seen in Mark 1:44. Why would someone aware of his divine nature choose to keep such acts hidden? Could it be that Jesus was revealing his identity gradually, both to those around him and perhaps even to himself? One pivotal moment in Jesus' ministry occurs in Caesarea Philippi when he asks his disciples, "Who do you say I am?" Matthew 16:15. Peter's response, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God," marks a turning point. Yet even here, Jesus warns them not to tell anyone, as if the full revelation of his identity needed to unfold at the right time. This moment raises another question. Was Jesus' awareness of his divinity tied to his unfolding mission, or was he fully conscious of his purpose from the start? The Gospel accounts also show moments where Jesus seems deeply connected to his divine authority. In John 8:58, he declares, "Before Abraham was, I am," a statement that unequivocally aligns him with God's eternal existence. Such claims left no room for ambiguity among his audience. They either saw him as the promised Messiah or as a blasphemer. Was this a bold proclamation of self-awareness, or was it a deliberate act to challenge his followers to see beyond the ordinary? Ultimately, the miracles and declarations of Jesus not only revealed his power, but also deepened the mystery surrounding his identity. Each act seemed to peel back another layer, inviting those around him and us today to wrestle with the profound question, who is this man? Whether these moments were a reflection of complete self-knowledge or part of a divine plan unfolding in real time, they leave us captivated, urging us to explore the depths of his nature as both God and man. As Jesus approached the darkest hour of his life, the Garden of Gethsemane became the setting for one of the most profound and human moments in his story. Kneeling in anguish, he prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Matthew 26:39. This heartfelt plea raises one of the most compelling questions in Christian theology. Did Jesus at this moment wrestle with doubt about his divine purpose? The scene is striking. Jesus, the one who calmed storms and raised the dead, is now overwhelmed by sorrow to the point of death. Matthew 26:38. His sweat, described as drops of blood in Luke's account, speaks to the intensity of his struggle. If he fully knew he was God, why would he experience such anguish? Some argue that this moment reveals the depth of his humanity, a God who not only took on flesh but also embraced the vulnerability of human fear and pain. On the other hand, his prayer also demonstrates profound submission. "Not as I will, but as you will." This duality, fear paired with unwavering obedience, offers a window into the mystery of his dual nature. Was this an act of divine certainty, where Jesus consciously accepted the weight of humanity's sins, or was it a moment of human hesitation, where he wrestled with the enormity of what was to come? Another layer of complexity lies in the silence of the disciples who accompanied him. Peter, James, and John, invited to keep watch with him, fell asleep repeatedly, leaving Jesus utterly alone. This isolation highlights not just his physical abandonment, but also the spiritual burden he carried, a burden no one else could understand or share. If Jesus was fully aware of his divine mission, was this solitude a reminder that even God in human form could feel the depths of human loneliness? The events in Gethsemane also reflect the tension between divine knowledge and human emotion. Jesus predicted his betrayal and foretold Peter's denial just hours earlier. These acts suggest a complete understanding of what lay ahead. Yet the anguish in the garden reveals a deeply human response to the prospect of suffering and death. Could this be a glimpse into how fully Jesus entered the human experience, feeling the weight of every emotion, even as he remained steadfast in his mission? As Jesus rises from prayer, his resolve is evident. "Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." Matthew 26:46. In this moment, any trace of hesitation vanishes. Whether the garden was a place of doubt, confirmation, or both, it becomes clear that Jesus' path to the cross was not one of coercion, but of conscious choice. The question remains, was this the moment where his divine certainty triumphed over human fear, or was it a demonstration of perfect harmony between the two? The Garden of Gethsemane challenges us to reflect on a profound truth. In Jesus, divinity and humanity coexisted in ways that defy comprehension. This moment of raw vulnerability invites us to see him not as distant or untouchable, but as one who understands the full spectrum of human experience, fear, pain, and ultimately the courage to surrender to a greater purpose. The crucifixion of Jesus stands as the most pivotal moment in history, where the full weight of his mission converged with his humanity and divinity. Yet even here, the question lingers. Did he face the cross with complete certainty of his divine identity, or was there still an element of mystery to his understanding? One of the most haunting statements from the cross is found in Matthew 27:46, where Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" This moment has perplexed theologians for centuries. If Jesus was fully aware of his divine nature and mission, how could he feel forsaken? Was this a cry of genuine abandonment, or was it a reflection of the weight of human sin he bore in that moment? Some argue that this exclamation reveals the depth of Jesus' human experience. On the cross, he felt the separation from God that sin causes, a separation that humanity would otherwise face eternally. In this moment, Jesus fully embodied the human condition, experiencing the ultimate consequence of sin, alienation from God. But could this also indicate a moment of doubt, where even Jesus, in his humanity, struggled to reconcile the enormity of his sacrifice with his divine nature? Others point to the words Jesus spoke just before his death as evidence of his divine certainty. In John 19:30, he declares, "It is finished." This statement reflects not despair, but triumph, signaling the completion of his mission. Similarly, in Luke 23:46, he says, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit," a declaration of trust and confidence in the Father. These words suggest that despite the agony of the cross, Jesus remained fully aware of and committed to his divine purpose. The events surrounding the crucifixion also add layers of meaning. The tearing of the temple veil, the darkness that covered the land, and the earthquake all point to a cosmic significance that transcends human understanding. These signs reveal that the cross was not merely a moment of suffering, but a divine act of redemption. Did Jesus, as he hung there, fully grasp the eternal impact of his sacrifice, or was he focused solely on the human pain and obedience required in the moment? Finally, the reaction of those around him provides further insight. The Roman centurion, upon witnessing Jesus' death, declared, "Truly this man was the Son of God," Mark 15:39. Even in death, Jesus' identity as God incarnate became undeniable to those who observed. This raises the ultimate question. Was the cross the final revelation of his divinity, where all doubts, both for Jesus and for humanity, were laid to rest? The crucifixion leaves us with a profound paradox. It is at once the ultimate demonstration of Jesus' divinity and the most human moment of his life. The pain, abandonment, and final surrender reveal the depths of his humanity, while the triumph over sin and death proclaims his divine authority. Perhaps this duality is the greatest mystery of all, that in Jesus the human and divine are not at odds but perfectly united, offering a glimpse into the incomprehensible nature of God's love.